Every nation carries the weight of its past, not just in memory but in sacrifice. And today, as Nigeria marks the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, the spotlight falls once again on the men and women who stepped forward when the nation called. This is Corero, and I am Godwin Sunday. From the battlefield of the Civil War to peacekeeping missions across Africa to the ongoing fight against insurgency and banditry, the uniform has carried both duty and burden. Yet, beyond ceremonies, the Roth's Remembrance Day asks harder questions. How far has Nigeria come in honoring veterans with more than symbolism? What has improved in welfare, pensions, medical care, reintegration, and national recognition? And in a time of rising insecurity, how deeply do civilians understand the psychological toll of service? Critics argue that remembrance must go beyond parades into policy. Others call for a stronger bridge between the military and the public, particularly in addressing the evolving threats that challenge our internal stability. But through it all, one truth remains. A nation's security rests not just on strategy, but on its attitude towards those who defend it. To help us explore this journey so far, we have been joined in the studio by the person of Abdulrahman, and who will be helping us put these whole issues in perspective. Please stay with us as Corero begins in a moment. Welcome back. With me in the studio is the person of Mr. Abdulrahman Aliagan. You're welcome to Corero.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
Well, it's Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Of course, we've seen this year's parade. It's been marked with parade again. Yeah. A lot of people will say that it's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be characterized by a lot of policy framework by the government. But then looking at it from where we were and where we are right now, what do you make of the generality of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day?
Yeah, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, it is a sense of history. So it helps us as a nation to appreciate our fallen heroes, because they are the reason why we are still where we are as a country. They hold that unity tightly for us, and as they sacrifice their life on the line, Nigeria, all January 15, every January 15 is being celebrated, marked by parade, release of pigeons to remember these fallen heroes. And it equally tell us about the struggle that these people sacrifice in terms of put their life on the line for the unity of this country. You discover that the Armed Forces Day was started, has its history during the First World War, during the end of the First World War. That was in 1919. And since then, that day has been used to remember those who fought, those who laid their life for the world. And that is still keeping the world united till date. We discovered that the First World War that came in ended in 1919. Another war also broke up. That was in 1939 and ended in 1945. That is the Second World War. Since then, it used to be celebrated on every 11th of January. But Nigeria, to make our history in a unique way, given our participation in our regional regional development, particularly the African Union, the even Commonwealth of Nations. You know, Nigeria participated in some of these wars. So, but during the civil war, at the end of the Civil War, it was now changed to January 15. That if you go back to history, you discover that the Civil War ended January 15, 1970. So since then, January 15 has been marked as a day to remember our fallen heroes. Yeah, because even some of our children now, or those that we can call youngies, that if this day are not being remembered, a good number of Nigerians may be lost in history. This shows that a retrospective that average Nigerians know the reason why, what brought us united till date. The Civil War, the history of the Civil War, the Biafra, and the federal government, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know, if this day has not been uniquely been marked, so many Nigerians will lose in the history of their country. So as a result of this, is a good thing, but it shouldn't just stop at marking it as a ceremony. It has to symbolize something. It has to continue to reflect in our nation. Today, we are hearing hip-hop, we are hearing, some are calling them Boko Haram, or all sorts of things has come up to be part of our history. But using this day, reflect on what has gone in the past, the people that have made sacrifice, putting their life on the line to ensure that Nigeria still united till date. So it is a good symbol, and it's a symbol of Nigerian history.
All right, so let's even look at this whole Armed Forces Day as a concept. You've tried to enlighten us and educate us on what the significance of the day is. Yeah. But in current realities, where it's been perceived that upon the demise of military personnel and armed personnel, their families seemed abandoned by the authorities. When military personnel lose their life in the war front, they tend to be forgotten. We only have one day to remember them, which we call the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. But their families largely are not even remembered. In such a scenario, shouldn't we be talking about discarding such a day that brings pain and more sorrows to the families that have been forgotten by the authorities? As the Armed Forces Remembrance Day not overstayed its welcome, you need to be looking for a day that we can even talk about more developmental strides for the personnel, their families, and those that have gone, and how to fuse all of this together in order to address our present military challenges.
Yeah, I will not subscribe to maybe to discard the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, because any attempt to discard it is an attempt to miss part of our history, and
even at the detriment of the families that have been abandoned.
The point is that we can just advise and encourage government to look more deeply into the celebration of Armed Forces Day. Yeah, the heroes, they left behind family, relatives that they are still living. It shouldn't just be that a day that is to remember them. Can't we look at their left behinds, particularly their family? Because it is sending a very wrong signal even to the living one. Because if it is just that we mark the day every January 15, we come together and remember them, neglecting the family they left behind. It is not speaking well. In fact, it's supposed to be a kind of policy that any veteran that laid his life for the country, there should be a way to compensate them, so that that memory will continue to lingering in the memory of their families. Because if we just stopped at marking the day Armed Forces Parade or releasing of pigeons, it has no direct impact in the lives of the family they left behind. It is better for government to look more into it. How will they bring it maybe in form of a policy that can, one way or the other, appreciate those people, their family, so that when they are each day or each time that they are remembering that their father pay a kind of supreme price for the country, they will be happy. You know, being celebrated as a hero, or heroes, is something unique. It's something good. It has formed part of Nigeria history. There is nothing we can do about it, but we have to magnify it. We have to look at it beyond parade. We have to look at it beyond releasing of pigeons. We have to begin to look at it in a way that it will be sending a kind of positive signal to the present military men, so that when they are each time they are remembering that they are alive, putting their life on the line for the country is not going to be a wasted time, or it's not going to be a wasted service. Federal government should look beyond the issue of remembering them alone. There is something unique, something that will be serving as a ego booster for the living one, so that when they see the way government is being celebrating the fallen heroes, it will be giving them moral booster for the service of their country. So it should be make as a policy, so that we can continue to appreciate the supreme price, the sacrifice these people had paid for their country. It shouldn't just be left at celebrating the day every January 15 alone.
Interesting. This year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not in Nigeria, and as such is represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima. He's the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and he's not around to celebrate even those fallen heroes. What does this speak, or does this say to even the morale of soldiers that are even looking up to this day in order to celebrate colleagues who have stood in the war front? Is it a morale booster for them?
Yeah, you see, the affairs of a nation it goes beyond when president maybe continuously to sit at home. If you look at what Mr. President what he's doing, or what took him outside the shore of his country, you still look at it in a way of a national calling.
But that calling can be delegated.
Yes, it can be delegated, but at times, you know, the kind of condition that Nigeria, that we find ourselves presently, it requires
non-delegation of authority.
It requires seriousness
and not delegation. Even on a day that is that is so important to the Nigerian military and the armed forces.
You see,
and the president went for a more important function.
Today is very, very important in the history of Nigeria. At the same time, you know, our constitution has made it so simple that when president is not around, the vice president can always take charge of the affairs of the country. The assignment that took Mr. President out of the country also is very, very important. I'm not saying that it's more important than the making himself available for the remembrance of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, but it is not in the vacuum. I mean, the government is not in vacuum. The point is that the vice president has stood in for Mr. President. The most important thing is for the day to be celebrated, for the fallen heroes to be remembered. Mr. President, I equally want to believe maybe he was not properly briefed. And you know, there are so many things that can come to the hand of the number one citizen of a country. Then if you look at what he's doing in Abu Dhabi, is on economic front. And if you look at what we are facing in Nigeria now, like I said, we need a kind of seriousness to approach all means possible to ensure that our economy bounce back, that Nigerians can feel the impact of the present administration. The vice president had represented the Mr. President, and I strongly believe that he represented Mr. President well. But it is very, very important for Mr. President not to allow this kind of situation happens again, because it may be sending a wrong signal. But I equally want to believe that Mr. President feel that his vice president is capable and he can handle the situation.
All right. Now speaking of the president, but let's even leave that apart. Since you've cited the constitution, which is a grand norm, let's not go back to that issue. But then, when we look at the Nigerian military and the Nigerian armed forces, from where we were from 1960, let's even trace it back to 1945, where we signed the charters to join the United Nations, signed all the treaties. Taking it from 1945 till date, when we begin to x-ray the Nigerian army, in your own observation, are we better off? Or right now, is the Nigerian army even more? Let's even hear from you.
Let me tell you, Nigerian army, to be frank and to be candid, we are better off. Why I say that? If you look at their participation in this global assignment, like peace mission, you discover that their outcome used to be fantastic. It used to be very, very good, because if you look at where we started and where we are now, I can tell you, and very strongly, that Nigerian military or Nigerian armed forces, they are more better. The only thing is that let them look inward. Let all these accolades, all these glories that they used to take when they are outside the shore of Nigeria, let them replicate it at home. We may be looking at it that we are facing with the issue of insecurity, insurgency, bandits, and we should equally look at what has been their trajectory from 1945 till date. particularly, let us look at between 1967 and 1970, that even brought about this day.
Yeah.
The Civil War, you know, they fought gallantly. They pay that price. At the end of the day, they keep Nigeria united. And that is what we are enjoying till date. So, is it in terms of numbers? Is it in terms of harmony? Is it in terms of capacity building? Nigeria is leading other African countries in ensuring that they brace up or they bring up the standard. They raise the standard of almost all African countries to where they are today. They served in maintaining peace in African region. They served in maintaining peace. Even so, look at is it Congo? Is it Congo? They went Sierra Leone, yeah. Look at what happened there. They restore that peace. Another one happened during President Obasanjo. That when one of the African country, the president visited Nigeria, and before he went back to his country, they've taken over. President Obasanjo directed the Nigerian Armed Forces to go to, I've forgotten the name of that country, to go to that state and restore the democratically elected government. And they did it perfectly. Look at Liberia, look at South Africa. So they have come all the way. And if we look at their performance critically, we can give it to them. But what we are saying, because we cannot continue to perform outside the country, and Nigeria is facing a serious, security challenge. So they are doing their best. Look at maybe in the last 1 month now, when Mr. President changed the service chiefs, we can see what has happened. Today, at least each day, we are recording success in terms of facing all these security challenges that we
Mr. Abdulrahman, a lot of Nigerians right now are clamoring for a civilian Armed Forces Remembrance Day, as against just the Armed Forces Day that we are having right now and celebrating. Because most civilians have had interactions with the military personnel. Most civilians have also been able to support the military to achieve some of the victory that they've enjoyed so far, but they're not recognizing the scheme of things. Is this call in the right direction? A civil Armed Forces Day?
Yeah, honestly, it's very, very important too for government to look that way too, because they are complementing the armed forces the system. If it is important, because as a result of these services or service, we have some of them that have laid down their life, that they have paid supreme price or prices to ensure that we maintain unity and peace in this country. You know, one thing that the government should begin to looking at is data. Do they have the correct data of those who have laid their life for the country? I mean the armed forces, let alone the civilian armed forces. You know, there is no amount of price that as a citizen that you cannot pay on behalf of your country. So it is highly commendable for the civilian, we call them civilian JTF or civilian armed forces, for they giving their life, because anybody that puts himself forward to go and confront these all these Boko Haram bandits and so all these gun runners, that person has laid down his life. is ready to pay any price. So some of them, one way or the other, might have, lay their life in that process. Government, it is expected for the federal government to begin to look at that area too, because if they are not encouraged with something like this, they may feel discouraged, they may feel not inclusive. So that as we are celebrating Armed Forces Remembrance Day today, let us look in a way to capture those people, the civilian forces too, so that we can begin to take a critical look into their activities, so that we can set aside possibly a day for them to be remembered in case any of them put in their life in the process.
All right. Now let's even talk in terms of the journey so far. Looking at the Nigerian Army right now, prior to this time, a lot of people will want to join the armed forces. As a matter of contingency, when you announce the sales of armed forces form, those forms don't stay up to 2 weeks. They are being taken by Nigerians. But let's talk about the joy that comes with defending the territorial integrity of a country, and the joy that comes with being a member of the armed community. Are these personnel happy right now when you look at them, comparing to where they were coming from? Are the Nigerian Army and armed forces, are they more happier now?
See, they are into officers and rank and files, or what do they categorize them? You see, generally, we cannot say that they are happy, because one, let us do a kind of comparison here. For you to be enlisted in an American army, you know what it takes. You know, in terms of respect, in terms of dignity, what American army carries. Come down to Nigeria. If you are enlisted in Nigerian army, I want to believe that most people that applying to become to get enlisted in Nigerian army, some of them, the issue of unemployment is there. Because some of them, it is not that they are so wish to join Nigerian army, but as a result of unemployment, and that is what is available, and it is not even available for the Dick and Harris. Not everybody that enlisted, they apply, get that job. Yeah, there is a limited space or number the forces can absorb, but despite that, the people that have gotten, enlisted, despite their feedbacks, it is not that their feedback is not that encouraging, particularly those rank and file. It's not encouraging. Some of them, they are inside the bush, sleeping, waking up in the bush. And when they are telling you about their take home, it's nothing to write home about. It can't take them anywhere. So that is why you discover that they too go any length to make sure that at least they keep their soul together. So in terms of welfare of our armed forces, it is not encouraging. It is not encouraging. The only area that is can be said to be encouraging, it is when they are becoming senior officer, maybe colonel, lieutenant colonel, upward like that. That is the only. But if you see those people that are actually, that usually send to confront all these security challenges, they are not smiling. They complain. If you are close to them, just hear them out. They will tell you what is not pleasing to the ears. So it is better for our government to look into this area critically, because if they are well kept, if their welfare is something to write home about, they won't be compromising. Look at so many cases of harming those that they even maybe dismissed, or some of them as a result of their welfare, that their welfare is not really fine. They do all sorts of things, they commit all sorts of crimes, that at the end of the day they get themselves out of the system. So it is very encouraging for government to begin to look at their welfare, so that they should be well taken care of, so that when they are serving, when they see themselves in that uniform, let them be rest assured that, yeah, this is a cause that they can lay their life, that even if they put in their life, when they look at their back, government will be there for their family, so that they will be more encouraged, they will feel belonging. Because if they are looking the way the politicians are doing, the kind of life the politicians are living, they used to feel bad, they feel dejected, that they are the one keeping the body and soul of this country together. They should not be living like in what we can call abject poverty, because the moment your take home cannot take you home, there is problem. So it is very important for government to begin to look at that area and see what they can do to address that situation.
All right. So the issue around remembrance is tied around two circles right now. You have the circle of the military, who have come out to say they are remembering even fallen heroes. But then the military is not only left in all of these thought lines. What will civilians remember the military for in this case? Or is it the Armed Forces Day, is it just to celebrate and remember fallen heroes just within the Armed Forces circle? Don't the civilian also have their own experience? What would they be remembering the military for?
Yeah, you know, the civilians are remembering the fallen heroes.
Of the military?
Yes. Some civilian, like I have somebody that used to give food items, cloth items to the wife of this fallen hero. So this person, I know, at least I've witnessed it 2 or 3 times, that he will assemble some of this, the family, particularly the wife of the fallen heroes, and he gifted them. So some Nigerians, even if you look at this, the emblem, is part of it. I could remember last year, I just pay a visit to the defense headquarters, and one officer approached me that I should use that emblem to buy it any amount as part of my contribution to the family of the fallen heroes. And within my capacity at that time, I did. And if you look at it, so many Nigerians, particularly, in fact, it has become part of our decoration badge now, that if you are going to a big event, even look at our big shots, like politicians and personalities, they are wearing that. And it does not come for free. no matter how little. The only thing is, it's not price tagged. The only thing, I mean, it comes with a price, but it is not free. So that is another way that the civilian are remembering the fallen heroes by merely putting that emblem at your chest. Too is symbolic. Is symbolic. But what we can be saying is we should look at, in a more meaningful way, that Nigerian civilian can be supporting this.
Well, a lot of civilians would disagree with you that the memory they have about the military has been that of brutality. The experience they've had, what they can remember as what serves to them as Armed Forces Remembrance Day is the day the military came to invade their communities. Some civilians will tell you that what they remember as the Nigerian Armed Forces Remembrance Day for them is a day when the military, they had an encounter with military, and mistakenly they were supposed to say yes and they said no. And they got disciplined for it. That's why I'm asking, what should then the civilians be remembering the military for? Is it professionalism or unethical behaviors?
You see, if I can say, if there is any system that discipline remains in Nigeria today, I will tell you it is the military system. They hold discipline with all sense of responsibility. And this does not deny pockets of all these unpatriotic tendencies, but it is insignificant. It is minute. When it comes to the issue of following the rules, maintaining orders, honestly, give it to them. And I will cite an example. Just pay a visit to any of their formations. You will know that in terms of neatness, they are there. In terms of obey the last order, they are the one. So, and like I said, I'm not holding briefs for them, and I'm not massaging their ego. But what I'm trying to say is that if you see military brutality, it is pockets, it is not part of their system. And I can tell you, if they get to know that one of them misbehaved, because they were trained or they are trained to represent that system well. They are trained to represent the forces as a symbol of discipline. And if anybody falls short of this, if the system gets to know they met the necessary discipline and penalty to that to anybody that falls short of this. So any Nigerians that fall into their I call it left hand, that does still not erase the essence of their being, what they stand for, what they represent. So yeah, there will be pockets of indiscipline even among them. But I can tell you, if the system gets to know, they don't used to take that lightly. So Nigerians, civilian Nigerians, we should celebrate our armed forces. We should remember them for good. For one thing, for the unity of this country. For one thing, for the peace that we are enjoying today, irrespective of the pockets of these security challenges that we are having. And if you look at it, maybe in the last 1 month, they are living up to that expectation.
Well, while growing up, there is a saying that old soldier never dies. And that saying, I've come to agree with that saying, that once a soldier will always be a soldier. But then there is one particular concern, which is around the era of retirement. When you meet a warrant officer that has retired, sometimes you begin to ask if this person truly served the country. When you meet some persons below that rank of a warrant officer, probably other ranks within the army, you begin to ask yourself if these persons really served this country. They seemed abandoned. They seemed forsaken. They seemed even left alone. And most of them, in my own analysis, at least I feel that they are being neglected by the Nigerian military. Looking at all of this, that scenario that looks as though the military does not care for its own after retirement. But we look at this and try to tie this up to the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Old soldiers that never dies, will they have a better story to tell us about the military even while they are out of service, and be proud of where they are after spending 35 years with the Nigerian Army? Is this something to write home about?
Yeah, that area, honestly, is a sorry state. It's a serious area. I mean, it's a serious area of concern. Seeing retired soldier, you discover that some of them, they are tired because of the way the system treated them. So, and this is not, it did not started today. It has started for a very long time. And it seems that there is no solution in sight to address that the challenge. The retired soldier, the way they look, more importantly, those who serve some of at the lower rank, it is not. It is an eyesore. It is an eyesore, and it is important for the system to look at that area critically and address it. And if I can say, it's like a Nigerian system. It is not peculiar to Nigerian army alone. Look at police, look at teachers. Talk of any sector or any areas of professions in Nigeria that has to do with government. They seem to be neglected. So, but it is worrisome when it comes to the issue of those who fought for the unity of this country, those who guarded the sovereignty of Nigeria with all responsibility, with all they had when they were in service, seeing them looking wretched, particularly when they are out to get what their entitlement. They maltreated, they subjected to all sort of maltreatment. It is not a good deal for Nigerian army. The leaders at the helms of affairs, they should look at that system or that area, and they should try to find solution to that thing, because that area in particular, it used to send a very bad signal that the end of the soldier, I mean, after serving their fatherland with all energy with them, with all the services they could render, at the end of the day, it's like they are neglected. They are not used to be included in the scheme of things. So the system, the Nigerian army should look at that area. It is sending a bad signal to not only to Nigeria, even to the global world.
Well, Mr. Abdulrahman, before I let you go, you've been able to interact with Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, and of course, you've had your own experience. Today is Armed Forces Remembrance Day. What will you be remembering the Nigerian Armed Forces for?
Yeah, personally, as a student of history, I will continue to remember them, for one thing, for the unity of this country. For another thing, for the peace that we are enjoying today as a united family, as a united country. So that day is a reflection of history, is a reflection of all things that has make us to be what we are today. Don't forget, Nigeria remains the giant of Africa. Nigerians remain one of the largest economy in Africa, if not the world. So, and without their sacrifice, without their services, I doubt if we can be here today.
Well, Mr. Abdulrahman, I thought when you say you remember the army for their professionalism, their all, I thought I would see the emblem on your breast, but then it's not there on your chest either. And of course, I think I'm the one representing the army here, because I'm putting on a touch of green to show that I'm celebrating and I'm remembering the Nigerian army for their doggedness in tackling some of the insecurity challenges that we are seeing across the country.
Yeah.
But on this note, I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Abdulrahman, for finding out time to be with us here on Korero.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for having me on the show. Thank you.
Well, viewers, this is how far we can go tonight on the show. Don't forget that you can leave your comments and also your best wishes and prayers for the Nigerian Armed Forces and the Armed Forces in general, as we celebrate today as Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Let's get you talk to us also on our social media handles currently showing on your screen right now. Let us know what you think about the day and what the government can do to help even facilitate and accelerate the growth of the average armed members of the armed forces across the board in the country. Well, my name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your night rest. Bye for now.